Hey everyone, and welcome to today's tutorial. Today we are going to be working with a collection from Echo Park called I Love Halloween. We are going to be adding on the die cuts and the coordinating solids paper pack. It does say that there's a dark orange and a light orange. I'm not sure if I just got a screwed up paper pack or if there is actually a difference. I'm not sure. The oranges look identical to me. So I'm not sure if this was just like an issue with my pack or if one of them is actually darker and I just can't see it with my eye. So I decided that because there's so much black in this collection that I want to use as accents, that I'm going to go ahead with purple and with orange as my main two colors, and then I'm going to use just this black paper as my third accent color. So we're going to be using cutting guide F today, and so that means that we're doing double page layouts. We're doing 2 of them, so we're doing 4 pages. We need 3 accent papers, 4 background pages, and then 5 sheets of cardstock. So 4 of those pages of cardstock we're actually going to cut up and make like a border piece with our 10 by 10 inch square in the center, and then that third color, so that 5th piece of cardstock, we're going to leave it as a 12 by 12, and we're going to cut some layered pieces from that 12 by 12 cardstock and not cut it down to 10 by 10. Okay, so first of all here, this is actually a little bit harder than I thought it'd be to pick papers. I think they're all great. But what's hard with picking background pages on double layouts is that they have to somewhat coordinate with each other. There was a lot of journaling cards in this pack, and I'm not sure if I'm going to keep them all. I really love this one though. That's the black based journaling cards here. We're going to keep that out and we're going to cut those up. And as for the rest of them, I do like them, but I want to make sure that I don't need the back side of it as an accent paper first before I commit to using the journaling cards. So for the process of picking the papers, like I said, the backgrounds you got to make sure coordinate. And then for me, I found that the issue with this pack was going to be to make sure that the accent papers didn't get too lost on the background pages, because they're kind of all similar. So I went ahead with my first accent paper being the striped paper here. It incorporates all the colors, and it's a classic thing that you can go to, and it generally will stand out on other pages really well. That's the only accent paper, that striped paper, that's going to be on both set of double layouts. So the other 2 accent papers that I'm picking here are actually not going to be with each other. So they can be completely opposite. They don't have to coordinate well with each other. They just have to work well with that striped paper and your backgrounds and your cardstock. So I found it really difficult to pick background papers with this collection. So here, as you can see, I kind of don't like these 2 combinations together. There was a lot of dead space in this paper here with all the characters on it. So I kind of like the idea of putting this ghost paper in with the star paper, just because at least the stars sort of tie each other in, and the dead space in the background of the pattern is similar. So there's similar sized stars on there, and the backgrounds are not super dumb. Like you don't see a lot of them once you start putting your layers on. So I think we can get away with having that combination for our first set of background pages. So for our second set of background pages, we kind of fell into the same kind of problem again with things being very different for backgrounds, patterns, but having to make something work. So I ended up liking these potions and the witches. There's a sort of a pattern with having a black as an accent and orange in there as well, and some smaller elements in between all of those images. So for our third accent paper, I went ahead and picked this green based paper that has the spiders on it. When I looked at all the pages we had left, I really needed a paper that was going to contrast a little bit more with everything else. because everything was going to become, I think, just blending in too much with each other. So that's what we went with, a color that contrasted quite a bit with everything else for our last accent paper there. So as you can see, there's not a lot of contrast here between some of our pattern papers and our background. It does help to put in this border piece behind that layer there with the font on it. So here what I went ahead and did with this striped paper is I just inked the edges just to make it pop, just so that layer has a little bit more of a shadow to it, and it shows up a little bit more against the background. Now, if you really wanted to, you do have spare black cardstock. You could definitely matte that striped paper. I just didn't really want to do that because I thought it would take away from the 3x5 photo layer, or 3x5 photo mat on top of that striped paper. I find that sometimes the benefit of having really busy background patterns and then having, you know, thicker matted cardstock for photo mats, your photos end up actually like almost coming to the front of your layouts, and they stand out even more because the backgrounds are so busy. So I don't mind this look. Obviously, you know, this is sort of my style, and I definitely do busier pages. But if it's something that bothers you, you could either add more mats, or you can go more, you can change your paper selections for sure at the beginning of the process and go with more muted patterns for your backgrounds. There's nothing saying that you can't actually put cardstock as your backgrounds as well. I just find that you get more theming this way, and you get to incorporate sort of what the person who created the collection has in mind if you tie in more of the elements on the page. And I find that things really do come together as well once you start putting embellishments on, especially when you have a coordinating collection. So I think one of the best things about this collection is all those little critters like that skeleton and these green-faced monsters. I guess they'd be like maybe like zombies. And so you definitely want to incorporate them on the page as much as you can. Here what I did is I adhered directly to the page that that green monster with the taller hair in the background, and then I popped up the one with the purple pants in front of it, and a little bit lower on the page, so it almost looks like there's one behind the other. And then I finished off that little cluster with 2 different sized pumpkins, and it almost makes it look like they're standing in and amongst the pumpkins. So it's definitely fun to have, or it's definitely nice to have some fun with these little critters like that on your page and sort of make them look like they're almost like in a little scene of some kind. Now this page is really busy, as you know from the paper selection, so I'm just going to go ahead and keep everything fairly minimal. I'm not going to put a lot of embellishments on this page. So for this layout here, I decided that I wanted to use the die cut pieces that made this banner that says October 31st, but everything is so busy on this page and there are so many different patterns in this banner that I just decided to mat it with like the black cardstock. And I didn't want to pick a color that was like really bright and really popped out at you because I want the pictures to do that. So I just went ahead with black, and it kind of gives it enough of a border that it stands out on its own, but it's not too overwhelming. So here I just decided to lower these pictures down a little bit more so we could fit a bit more larger accents on the top here. And I really loved this checklist, this Halloween checklist, and I wanted to incorporate more. I wanted to incorporate because it had that black background, and then I picked that haunted house 3x3 journaling card as well because it sort of tied in the whole black accents with the cobwebs in the corners, and all the rest of my accents were all very focused on being black as well, just because I thought they would stand out best on some of the busier backgrounds in the back. And I really don't think that these accents take away from the picture areas themselves, so it ended up working well. And definitely it's going to be too busy for some people, but I think you can definitely do some different things and maybe pick some more subtle pages in the background if having busy pages is not for you. But I really like how the pictures are going to pop on the page once I go back and put them on. I just want to thank you guys so much for watching. This is going to be my last Halloween video, and we're going to move into some collections that are going to start going into Christmas, and I think I might have one fall one left, but I'm going to have to look. So we will see you guys a couple of weeks from now. I hope you guys have a great weekend and stay safe and stay healthy, and we will talk soon.